Okay, morning everyone. Welcome to the briefing on Thursday, the 11th of August. A deja vu, I'm sure, when you look out the window, Groundhog Day with the sun shining and the temperature at 20 degrees at 9 o'clock in the morning. Temperature's building quite nicely at the moment. I'll talk about that in a sec. But the weather chart, you look at this and you think, well, it's not really high pressure. It's sort of just a sort of coal that's stabilized over the top of us. But there's very little to change it over the next sort of 3 days, really. These fronts you see to the north, not really going anywhere, weakening affairs. And we're just in a very, very light easterly drift, really, at the moment. The only thing that's varying, to be honest, is the pressure, as it'll change, move about over the next couple of days. It's come down about 4 millibars from yesterday, destabilizing just a little bit. And that's the thing that will change the weather over the next few days and give us some form of variation. But it's just going to be hot. Whatever happens, certainly in the next few days. You can see the spacing on the isobars. Whatever drift you're getting is going to be fairly light. I think from the east, generally, you're certainly going to see some sea breezes coming in late in the day with the light winds, the high temperatures we got today. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a southerly wind pick up at Lasham at some point late afternoon. TAF's not really saying very much. 0304 knots. It's a bit stronger than that at the Lasham weather station. I just looked at that. It's 5 to 8 knots, I think, on the ground. That's going to be about the same most of the day. But yeah, from a generally easterly direction, some places like Gatwick are showing northeasterly and Farnborough northeasterly, Heathrow a little bit more easterly direction. And the upper winds, generally, I think in the Channel, it's a little bit windier, but middle of the country, and certainly over us for a bit, it's 5 to 8 knots from an easterly flow. And you can see the temperature predictions, even at 1,000 feet, 23 degrees, maybe more, well, probably more than that, to be honest, looking at what it's going to get to today. The sat pic doesn't really show you much at all, little bits of low, foggy areas probably coming in off the North Sea, over London, just mist really, and Norfolk and Cambridgeshire dissipate fairly quickly. It looks like a thin veil of cloud, but there's nothing picking up on the infrared, so burn off whatever it is pretty quickly. Temperatures going up already at more than 2 degrees an hour, and sort of saying 33 degrees there. Well, our BBC seems to agree with that. So I'll go with that over the sort of southern half of the UK, maybe a little bit cooler in the Midlands, but not much. And dew points pretty low. The dew points are about 1 degree lower than they were yesterday, and obviously they go down when the sort of thermal mixing starts. So yeah, dew points 6 and 7s, I think, late afternoon. So huge temperature split and dew point split. I think very little chance of cumulus. Funny enough, Top Meteo are showing Q, but I can't quite get my head around where they're getting that from. Maybe with a sort of pressure falling and a slight destabilization, you might see some cumulus in certain places if a little heat low develops. Soundings, well, that's around here this afternoon. So if it does get to 33 degrees, it's certainly got the potential to go up to 6,000 feet plus, I would have thought. But as you can see, if the dew points are down at the 7s and 8s, those lines won't meet. Little chance of cumulus. Looking further north, and interestingly, Top Meteo seem to be saying, you know, a lot further north, the Midlands area, it's going to be very, very high. Here it just suggests again, 6,000 feet plus. And we've got to sort of temper these with the fact that they are just predicted, a sense, and the real live data might give you a slightly different picture. This is Lark Hill, and it's fairly useful for us. Gives you a fair idea of how warm it's got to get to start sort of brewing anything up. So looking at that, I think you'll start getting some sort of low-level mixing around 24, 25 degrees. But I think any proper thermals, you'll need 27, 28 to really kick it off by the looks of it, to get something that's going to be going to 1,000 meters, 3,500 feet. And if you plug in 32, 33 degrees, then it goes up here somewhere, up around the sort of 1,800, 2,000 meter mark around us. I don't imagine that air's changed very much. And look how dry it is in here. So very little chance of cumulus, folks. They're already showing the dew points here at about 10, and they're only going to go one way down for a bit. So yeah, it's all purely heat driven. Hotter it gets, the higher the thermals go up to the inversion. There's not a sort of strong inversion in here, but it's sort of not wildly unstable air as well. It just requires temperature and mixing to get it going. So how does Top Meteo interpret that? Well, let me just run back through thermal heights first of all. They're suggesting it's not going to get going till somewhere around midday, and I would have thought that's probably about right. If it's 20 degrees now, 2 degrees an hour, 26, 27, you're going to be looking at sort of 11:30, 12 o'clock before you get any proper mixing, and then decent high thermals, maybe even later than that. And then by 1 o'clock round Lasham, they're showing a sort of what looks like an incursion of sea air. SkySight aren't actually showing that. But I think in this area here, it's saying it should go to 4.5 by sort of 2 o'clock in the afternoon. In the Midlands, they've got sort of 2,400 meters, 2,600 meters. And move it on a couple of hours, I think they're showing 2,800 meters. I can't quite work that one out. It'd be nice to have a look at the late morning Lark Hill. Give me an idea where they might be getting that from. Because I think that the highest temperatures are going to be in the southern half of the UK here, anywhere south of Oxford down to us, by the looks of it. So it should be the best area, to be honest. But over us, again, it should be reasonably high, certainly be 5,000 feet at least above sea level, with the Top Meteo suggesting this good bit in the Midlands. Cloud amounts, well, obviously you saw the picture a little bit earlier. They were suggesting there's going to be some cumulus developing in there, high-level cumulus. And they're also showing thin areas of just upper cloud and cirrus. I can't actually see that on the sat pic at the moment. So by 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they're suggesting Oxford area, there might be some cumulus. It's only on Top Meteo's model. SkySight don't show it. And I can't see it from the actuals and even the predicted, really. So I'm not entirely sure where they're getting that one from. Suggested distance from Top Meteo. And they're showing what looks like sea air incursion. I can't imagine it with it actually looks more like an easterly flow, stronger easterly in the channel, but not particularly over us. And SkySight, that's their depth of thermal by sort of 12, 1 o'clock. So going up to about 3,000 feet initially by that time. Move it on a couple of hours, 2 o'clock, and it's up around 1,1600 meters. And they're still showing it being quite good down on the south coast, certainly south of us. And then by sort of 4 o'clock, lots of darker colors. So, yeah, cloud or thermal tops, certainly in the 16 to 1,800 meter mark, out towards the northwest as well, the Cotswolds, and into Cambridgeshire. Just a quick look at this cloud base. They're not showing anything. You can run that through all day, and Top Meteo aren't suggesting any cumulus. So obviously looking at the same model probably, but interpreting it slightly differently. Okay, so yeah, good day, bit of a late start, but should be good for 300 to 400k hopefully. Out to the northwest and northeast. And another good day. Moving it on 24 hours again, it looks okay tomorrow. Haven't looked in great depth. It should be okay into the weekend, and then a breakdown really towards Monday, and we're then back into normal sort of showery weather. Frontals systems moving through, but still should be all right with such dry ground. The fronts will be weak, and it should be reasonable next week. Airspace wise, not really a great deal going on. Certainly local to us. 21 and 23 are just high intensity radio transmissions from Boscombe down and somewhere in the middle of the danger area. Number 16 is paragliding down to the south. 27 is paragliding. The important ones, number 31, Little Risington Para, all day, operating with that cone. So if we were around that area, give Bryce a call. That'll let know what's going on. All of these round here, various events, paragliding and things that aren't really relevant to us. Sywell aerobatics aren't on today. And I just thought I'd sort of talk about this one up here. I don't know if anybody's going to go to them in, but Shawbury have an air display, and the red arrows are operating there as a restricted airspace for the reds between 12:55 and 13:35, and then there's parachuting 1500 to 16:15 plus a display all day. So it's just one to be aware of. Apart from that, it's fairly quiet up through here and out towards the Cotswolds. Operationally, folks, what's it going to be on 09? My advice is no grid today. Just come to the runway whenever you want to actually launch, because you're going to need the whole air in sort of temperatures of 31, 32 degrees. You really want the entire runway to take off on. No jet movements as of 10 minutes ago when I looked at my emails. So it shouldn't get going till 12 o'clock, towards 1 o'clock. So roll to the runway at that point, and I'm sure they'll get you launched. And have a great day.